Welcome back, YouTubers, to Q&A 199. That's it, one away from fucking 200. Jesus Christ, that makes me feel old.
Yeah, we've done this ongoing. I was gonna do it 199 times, but no.
Going on and on and on. That's not really my word, is it? I was gonna say I'm going grey. You're sort of getting a bit of a bald patch. It's just like as that's how bloody old we are doing these things. Anyway, it's almost 4 years we've been doing this Q&A. But yeah, I'm Mr. Parkin, going grey, and this guy sitting next to me, he's not really got a bald spot. He's got lovely hair, bless him. What little of his there is of it.
What's up?
And we're going to answer some of your questions. And if you have any questions for us, please put them down in the comment section below. Apologies if your WrestleMania questions didn't get answered last week. You know, it's very off the cuff, and if you asked questions during that Q&A, I'm afraid we're just not going to put them in because WrestleMania would have been gone by then.
You know, the surprising thing about videos like this, before we get into the thing that you're all here to see, is we can't really comment on WrestleMania because we're recording this days before WrestleMania. So if I say, "Oh, it was terrible," somehow the WWE can pull something up the hat.
You got it. It's terrible. We're actually recording this the Tuesday after WrestleMania. By God, that was an awful show, wasn't it, NJ? I don't know why I'm commenting on it because I didn't even watch it.
Precisely. Now into the Q&A where WrestleMania questions could be here,
No.
or there could be some
Royal Rumble
interactive.
questions.
Yes.
We start off with a Royal Rumble question. RFV089. Thoughts on Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble? I mean, do you give it to a veteran or do you give it to a newer guy? I don't have any problems with Reigns winning. I just think the way they booked the Rumble really didn't favour a lot of people, and I can understand why.
My biggest problem with Roman Reigns is that, yes, looking at Brock Lesnar, we could see the future of Reigns win the Rumble there. But going into this Rumble, I think there's about 4 or 5 names uh, people had in mind who could have won, and they were getting compliments for it. And it's those other 4 who got treated really bad in the Rumble, and they made Reigns look superior because they're the ones that WWE think is going to give us the best match possible.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people, Daniel Bryan, Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, others, just they weren't good enough to win the Royal Rumble. I'm sorry. I know that Roman Reigns a lot of people may have felt Roman Reigns wasn't good enough to win the Royal Rumble, but what Daniel Bryan done recently to say that he could win a Rumble? What Dean Ambrose done? Oh, he lost to Bray Wyatt a few times, lost to Seth Rollins. Oh, what has Dolph Ziggler done? Oh, panned around the mid
I'm
card.
sorry, the main saving grace for Daniel Bryan, the thing that was making him be a likely candidate, is his whole he didn't actually lose the championship in the way that he should have. So he should have technically came back and had this opportunity to become what he once was. Ziggler, the Survivor Series thing. Ambrose, I guess, because he went took down a losing streak. The Rumble could have been his uprising. And yeah, Reigns was the most obvious one because the big guy thing, and Brock Lesnar versus Reigns is big guy versus big guy. But my feelings on Reigns winning, I think it's just because the WWE pretty much set in stone. It came in a sentence to him winning.
I just think WWE had to create a new star, and the best one they had for it, they thought was Roman Reigns. So they just thought, well, got to push this guy. I mean, can't blame them. They haven't really got too many to work with, so they're pushing the one guy they think could be there. Anyway, next question. Do you think that one of Vince McMahon's most underappreciated qualities is his ability to forgive guys who left him and his company and have gone off to wrestle for other wrestling companies? I don't really think that. I mean, people going off to wrestle for other wrestling companies, maybe back in the Attitude Era, people. I mean, I think with Vince McMahon, whatever's happened, I think he'll always do what's best for business. I think if CM Punk, I think if CM Punk was good for business, he'd do his best to bring him back. I think that if anyone, I mean, he did it with Brock Lesnar. I mean, Brock Lesnar left in bad circumstances in 2004. He brought him back. Whatever's best for business, I think Vincent McMahon will put his personal qualities behind him for it.
Like for example, Ric Flair. Yeah, he hasn't came back to wrestle, but after him ditching a big storyline for the WWE and going to TNA, I'm sure Vince and him are best friends. So that's why he came back. No questions asked. But for fans like me, I thought No, I just wouldn't care about Ric Flair coming back to the WWE. Who else have we had? Bully Ray came back as Bubba
Hogan.
Ray, bit different. Hogan, I think that because he's been a big thing in the WWE, so him coming back, you could see as a good idea, but at the same time, he did go off and do things for TNA.
Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, perhaps.
So there's some names, but in my opinion, it depends on how they left the WWE, is how fans would see their return to the WWE. But in Vince's eyes, if he can get money out of these names, then he's going to, like you said, forgive.
It's kind of goes on to the Hall of Fame as well. I mean, you had Bruno, you had Ultimate Warrior, Randy Savage this year. All three men have had beef with Vince McMahon, but I think that was more down to Triple H personally. But so that's probably a little bit different. Robert Hernandez, favorite matches you've ever seen? Oh boy,
I can name
big
quite a
net
few.
here. I mean, I think the first one that stands to mind from most recent memory is CM Punk versus John Cena at Money in the Bank. Maybe Daniel Bryan's 2 matches at WrestleMania 30.
Not the best matches. I think it
Or
was more
favourite,
storyline.
favourite. I mean, what about Cactus Jack versus Triple H Royal Rumble 2000? Never. That'll always be one of my favourite matches. No, the first Royal Rumble event I watched.
I'd go with uh, Triple H Shawn Michaels Street Fight. I think that was good for me.
I think Elimination Chamber and Survivor Series 2002 is another one with Shawn Michaels winning
TLC.
at WrestleMania 17.
We could go for as for recent. I've not really had many. I could throw some divas in there, but favourite match I've ever seen: Shane versus Kane ambulance match. That is always going to be a favourite of mine because of how the match was booked on both halves.
And I think this brings us to quite a good point in the sense that, some people may not have liked that match that NJ said. Some people may not have liked it. I mean, you like WrestleMania 25. Some people don't. I think this is the great thing about this. We all have different opinions. Some people probably didn't like that, but you do, and that's why it's your favorite match.
And there's many great matches that we could name that, but obviously I would like this to be the comment section, yes, to receive more questions. Obviously, we're trying to build as much as we can to keep going for another 200, but this is also for us to read what you put in the comment section. So, what are some of your favourite matches? Even though I'm pretty sure we have seen them, but it's always nice to know what you think.
Especially to some of you old school fans. I mean, I wasn't really there during the Attitude Era or during the golden era of WWE and the NWA era and all that kind of stuff for WCW. So I really wasn't there, and for a lot of that, neither was NJ. So if you're an old school fan, you have some favorite matches. Maybe you liked Savage versus Steamboat WrestleMania 3, Hogan versus Warrior WrestleMania 5, I believe that was. Maybe you like those matches. Let us know in the comment section below, please. Jersey12361. Do you buy WWE magazines? I have never bought one. But have you bought a WWE magazine?
But it was from eBay. The other ones I got were from, sadly, a part of the British Fist that was there for the short course, Mark, who gave me some of his because he just weren't needing them anymore. And of course, there were magazines specialised by Triple H.
UH Type 1. Who did you want to see win the Royal Rumble? I think a lot of people wanted to see Daniel Bryan win, didn't they? Because, he was like the ultimate underdog and etc.
That's Bryan fans, but us.
I don't know who I wanted to win the Royal Rumble. I was just kind of resigned to Roman Reigns winning because I wanted WWE to try and at least make a big time move on a new star.
I accepted Roman Reigns, but I did not want Roman Reigns. I was going into that match looking at the other possibilities of like the Ambrose. Yes, he went through a losing streak, but you've seen how losing streaks sometimes leads to them winning Money in the Bank or something silly like that. So I guess I was looking at the unpredictability option, which was foolish me, because the answer was Roman Reigns.
I didn't really have a personal favourite as to who I wanted to win. I just knew that Roman Reigns kind of had to win that Royal Rumble. That was the only one that really stood out. Do you think Vince lost the ability to create new stars? I mean, you could make an argument that he's lost the ability to create new stars because he doesn't seem to be able to create any. But also, you've got to look at the talent pool. Is the talent pool as good as it once was? Is WWE's developmental stage in NXT, etc., really doing the best job? We've seen the recent news about Bill DeMott, etc. You've got to look at these other things as well. And essentially, at the end of the day, Vince oversees all of this as he is the owner of the company. I say he has lost the ability to create new stars. I mean, what in the last 10 years, apart from like a John Cena or a Batista, what other massive major stars have been just purely made from a WWE? You can't say a CM Punk because he came from ROH and the independent scene after being on there for how many years. WWE people that came from WWE, people that WWE trained, what stars have they made? I mean, Roman Reigns you could say is one, but they just haven't made enough to really make sure that their future stability as a company really is on the up.
I don't think they have the names right now who you can count as a top star, but I don't think they've lost the ability because they've had the ability, but somewhere along the lines, that ability gets slaughtered. Like you've had wrestlers who are getting a push, and it comes to a specific match or specific moment, and they fail. Like we've seen the rise of certain wrestlers, like Bray Wyatt. Yes, he's getting the chance thanks to build to WrestleMania, but he's swooped down. Daniel Bryan, yeah, it's his injury, and he's still working his way there.
Is that the fault of WWE though? That's why I mean.
The injuries, no, but I think the build of certain wrestlers like Bray Wyatt, he had it there for him, but somewhere slipped. You could say Dean Ambrose, who's now in the mid card.
Daniel Bryan, you could even say.
His injury, but yeah, I guess. Barrett's somewhere along the lines. It's the John Cena thing. So they've had the opportunity. So I don't think they've lost the ability. I just think the writing, which we always talk about in many, many, many videos, is where the glitches.
Who would you pick to manage TNA to make it a contender against WWE? Triple H, Paul Heyman, or other, and why? I think there's one name that stands out for me personally.
Yep. I'm going to say the same one as you.
Do you think you are?
Yep, I am.
What, off this list, or is it another?
This list.
I'm not going to be saying someone off this list.
I am.
Are you going to say Paul Heyman?
The reason I say this is because, yes, he's signed another year, okay, but I think after next year, I think if that's Brock finished, Paul Heyman, instead of getting another Paul Heyman guy, another one, he can go and do TNA. Even though he wouldn't because he's happy with WWE, but still.
I mean, I was going to say Jim Ross. He has a good mind for the business, and he's not really doing much right now. It's more whether he would want to do it. And I'm not really sure Jim Ross would really want to devote his time to TNA. He's too busy living his life now when he's got his barbecue ranch, etc. So I'm not sure. But Jim Ross is a name that would stand out for me. Who is your favourite wrestler to sing a song in the ring or backstage?
Singing.
Too Cool. I mean, The Rock was good, but Too Cool. I love Too Cool.
They're dancing, but Rock singing.
Oh, Rock singing, brilliant, but Too Cool. Fucking brilliant. I loved Too Cool. What about New Age Outlaws?
They didn't really sing.
Well, they didn't sing, but it was a type. Or
rappy stuff.
Yeah, what about Aiden English in NXT? He was a good singer.
I think of all names, The Rock, but I think... Oh, a little throw in for comedy effect. Shawn Michaels doing ringtones when he sung his own sexy boy on the phone, that thing. But no, Rock for me, dancing, Too Cool.
Do you think WWE will squeeze in Daniel Bryan in the main event of WrestleMania to make the match likable? Yes, I should have put that in the WrestleMania Q&A. I'm sorry I didn't see that, UH Type 1. That's just an error from myself.
Not another triple threat, not another one.
Well, no, they won't do it now. I mean, at the time this question was asked, I still would have said no.
No.
Because Lesnar versus Reigns, I mean, generally, unless it's unforeseen circumstances, such as WrestleMania 20 with Benoit winning the Rumble, or WrestleMania 30 with Daniel Bryan and his rise and the way the fans got behind him, I definitely think the main event should always be a singles match. So much more easier and more effective to build a singles match.
This could have been a triple threat because of Daniel Bryan's reasoning, not losing title. He could have guaranteed himself to get a rematch. All that yada stuff. So this could have been a triple threat, but Daniel Bryan in another triple threat year following, I think that wouldn't have felt realistic or believable when obviously Reigns was the one who was getting the push.
And also the fact that they went with Reigns versus Bryan at Fastlane and they had Reigns beat him clean. So how could you put him in the triple threat after that? You just couldn't do it. It'd just be stupid. Mr. Parkin, would AJ style fit perfectly on NXT? Yes or no? Which AJ are you talking about? Are you talking about AJ Styles or AJ Lee? I'll talk about both. Fuck it. AJ Styles would definitely fit into NXT because it seems like NXT really are full of smaller guys that have an independent wrestling style. So I think AJ Styles, would fit in there perfectly. I really do. Probably not on the WWE roster, but he would definitely be some kind of use on the WWE roster if they brought him up. He just wouldn't be a massive star.
Even though he's AJ Styles, I would have probably stuck with him with NXT because obviously he's a good talent to work with, and then NXT need that kind of talent to build them up.
And I've just read the question, and it said AJ Styles. So thank God I did AJ Styles first, because AJ Lee, she would fit, I think. You know, any diva would really fit in there because they get more time in the fucking ring.
I say AJ Lee would have been a fit because if she's thinking of leaving, I think a lighter schedule like NXT would have fit her nicely, so she doesn't leave completely.
AJ Styles definitely, but I think he's better off doing other things. I don't think WWE would give him enough money than what he's getting on the independent scene right now. Toby Pierce, if you were a wrestler, would you rather be a mid-carder in WWE or main eventer in TNA? Oh God. The main question for me, do mid-carders in WWE get paid more, or do main eventers in TNA get paid more? Because whichever one, that's what I'd want to be. The main thing I'd want to be is I'd want to earn as much money as I can to support my
Brock
family.
Lesnar. You sound like Brock Lesnar. Give me money.
Yeah, well, I mean, essentially, at the end of the day, as much as these characters come across, they love the business. Essentially, at the end of the day, they're taking that paycheck from Vince McMahon or Dixie Carter, and they're trying to make as much money as possible to feed their families, etc. I mean, they're even using that as a thing in NXT with Kevin Owens.
My answer, I'm looking at it thinking if WWE had Money in the Bank, if they had good TLC matches, I'd have picked WWE mid-card. TNA bring all these like cage matches and exciting, storyline for main events. Not saying WWE don't, but so I think I'm a bit leaning towards mid card for the WWE.
I can't pick between the two. The determining factor is how much money I would make. Really, that's really what it's all about. Jamie Innes. It's a long time since he's asked us a question. So hello from New Zealand, even though you're probably watching this 12 hours. I don't know what the time difference is there. Anyway, well done on the cricket for getting to the final. You're facing Australia. With people using the term Roman Empire, do you think that it would be a good idea? Do you think it would be the ideal faction name should a heel Roman Reigns ever start a group in the future? The group could carry a red flag with a golden eagle on it, just like the Romans did. He was just in the Shield. And I think really you want Roman Reigns as a babyface to branch off as a single star for now. But should he turn heel, I don't think he should be starting his own faction. I think it's the kind of thing where maybe he could be the next Paul Heyman guy or something. I don't know.
To be honest, I'm a little bit different to you because...
Well, I mean, we look totally different.
Wearing
different clothes.
The faction, you said in years to come, I think Reigns, as he's already been labelled as a Shield member, to put him into another faction, it would work, but I don't think fans would. They'd have to compare the Shield versus this one. What would be better for Reigns? But the heel stuff you were saying, I think with the reaction he's getting and only trying to get the face reaction back, I think turn him freaking heel. I don't really care. So I think the Roman Empire thing is not going to last long. So faction, no. Heel, yes.
I don't know why you turn Roman Reigns heel when essentially at the end of the day, if he turned heel, you know that John Cena would be in the main event again.
Fans don't seem to want to cheer him as much anymore, so they're going to try everything. So he's probably going to win many matches to try and get the face reaction. He's probably going to be in many storylines to get a face reaction. He's probably going to win the championship more than once or twice.
Perhaps, like a Sheamus.
He might get a Sheamus push, and I think instead of trying to beat that out of Reigns when fans don't seem to want to cheer him as much anymore, just turn him heel.
Ebro S. This is the last question.
Yep.
Would you watch a squash match of Sting versus Heath Slater on some kind of special episode like SmackDown 600? I mean, Sting on SmackDown, yeah, I would watch that.
Look, I don't know why we have to talk about a special edition. I'll do it on four Raws in a row just to prove that Heath Slater cannot win matches and he should be on his way out the front door. Has he already not proved
that by the fact that he just loses matches anyway?
He should lose it to Sting. Sting should be the one to get rid of him.
Sting with a t-shirt on, that would be even more embarrassing, wouldn't it? TNA Sting defeating Heath Slater.
Oh, I can't do my submission. Oh, come
Oh,
on. No.
especially in a really weak Scorpion Deathlock. Oh
I've still
God.
got my base with that. Flip's sake.
Yeah. Anyway, that's been it from us, the British Fist.
Catching.
Another Q&A. Hopefully, we haven't decided yet, but hopefully we'll have something special for the Q&A 200. We'll see what happens.
It'll be another millennium for us.
Oh, another
No,
bloody
200.
yeah, 10th of a millennium. We'll have another 10 times more to do before we get to a millennium. Hopefully, we don't go that far. So we're bloody 80 still doing this bloody thing. It's your idea of a dream, isn't it?
It is, yep.
Anyway, that's been it from us, the British Fist. We'll do this again.
Catching.
I'm Mr. Parkin. This is NJ.
What's up, people? And thank you very much for watching. We're at 200, and to be honest, it looks like 200 is going to be... No, not the end. I was going to, bring the sadness to this video, but I've enjoyed this video. This video has been good because it's brought discussion and answers. But all we need now is the questions to keep that going. That's where you come in. So continue to do that in the comment section below. And to wrap up this finish, from Mr. Parkin and me, NJ, what's up? Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully WrestleMania hasn't left you in tears like Taker Street finishing last year, only for him to come back the year later and wrestle. Goodbye.